Welcome to the Nevada Author Network, a collaboration between the Sierra Arts Foundation and Two More Books. Recorded at the Depot Gallery and Bookstore in Sparks, Nevada. Each week we will interview a Nevada author and member of the Sierra Arts literary community. Our guest this week is author Sue Dugan.
Hi, everybody. It's JT from the CC and JT Amateur Hour, and over there is CC somewhere.
Hello.
And our podcast, the CC and JT Amateur Hour, is partnered with the Sierra Arts Foundation to create the Nevada Authors Network. And what we do here at the Nevada Authors Network is we elevate and highlight a local writer who's a member of the Sierra Arts literary community. We've done several podcasts, and we're hoping to continue doing several podcasts and release these podcasts every Wednesday for viewing for folks in northern Nevada to see what kind of art and talent that we have up here in the beautiful Reno, Sparks, Carson City, Fallon area. So these podcasts have been really fun, and we, CC and I, are honored to be joined by award-winning author. Welcome, Sue. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
So, Sue, I was just looking through. I love your covers. Let's just get that right out in front. I love the covers of your books. You know, ranging from SOS, Mayday, Forever and Ever, Always. I really like that one with the hand holding. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, do your sales pitch. Talk about your awards. Let's have some fun with Sue today.
Yes. Well, my name's Sue Dugan, and I live here in northern Nevada. I haven't always been a writer, a fiction writer. Let me clarify that. I was an educator for over 30 years and wrote grants, newsletters. I had a textbook published when I was a teacher many years ago. And about 3 years ago, my publishing journey really started. I had offers on my third book called Catastrophic. I think you have a picture of that, about a reincarnated couple who are reunited in today's day and age and how the past impacts their present day experience. That was published by the Wild Rose Press. They also published the second book in that series, Catastrophic. And then they also published Walk-In's Welcome, which just won an award through Pencraft for the best chick lit for the 2024 year. So that was fun. So I received a nice plaque from
very
them.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I also sent the second book in the series, which you said you liked the cover. This is the second book in the trilogy, Forever and Ever Always. And before that, I traveled to Seattle Bellingham and received an award for Mayday, a middle grade time travel book for the Gertrude Warner. I don't know if you can see that or not. First place for middle grade adventure. And last year at this time, SOS took first place in that. So SOS kind of got me started on entering contests as a way of validating what I was doing, because writing is you're pretty much contained in your own head. So SOS, I entered that in the Chanticleer Gertrude Warner contest, and I had entered other books previously and got 0 from them. So I thought, well, this is a long shot. The book wasn't even published. Lo and behold, it kept moving up the ladder till it was a finalist. And I thought, do I want to go to this contest or don't I? I've never been to Bellingham. So I took a chance and went there. And when they called my name, I think I screamed. So hurried up and went home and got a cover, got it published, and then did the same thing with Mayday. So that's kind of my publish. So about 3 years, things really started to gel for me in writing fiction.
So you actually didn't have those books published yet when you won the awards?
SOS wasn't published. Mayday was published.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but I'm really glad I went to Chanticleer. They do a wonderful conference and award ceremony. And I met a lady there that I think is going to take me to the next level of my writing. Her name is Kim Hornsby, and she writes romance and suspense, but she also writes screenplays based on her work, and then she produces them. And we had a similar backstory. She lost her husband during COVID, and I lost my husband during COVID. And it was during that time period both of our careers took off. In fact, we were scattering my husband's ashes in Hawaii. I was with my stepdaughters, and I got the first call from the publisher for Catastrophic.
I'm sorry. So first of all, our condolences. So difficult. So you were in the process of taking care of your husband's ashes, and
Right.
Hmm.
you received the call.
I received the first of 6 offers on one of my books, and I thought, oh, well, that's good. I felt his hand on my shoulder. Okay, Ken, I get it. You're with me in this project, in this process. So I connected with this Kim Hornsby because something similar happened to her. And I said, I'd love to learn how to screenwrite. And she said, why don't you think about coming to our screenwriting seminar we're having it in Greece, of
Oh,
all places? And I don't know what made me. I went and put a deposit down on the trip. And so I'm going to go to Greece in September and learn how to be a screenwriter. And I'm going to use my book, Suppressed, to see if I can adapt that into a script or screenplay or whatever they call them.
Wow, that's quite
Yeah,
impressive. Congratulations on that,
thank you.
early, because that's, because sometimes writers like to play it safe, be conservative. That doesn't sound like that's your style.
Well, I don't know what prompted me to do that. I don't do that usually on a whim, but something about Kim, I connected with her, and I really her and our similar story. And now we've been communicating, and I'm getting ready to start a Zoom class with her in a couple of weeks to kind of learn the mechanics, because there's a lot of things to know about taking a book and making it into a screenplay. And I've never done it before, so it's definitely going to be a learning curve for me.
Well, I suspect you're probably going to be just as successful, if not more successful. I mean, look at what you've received in recognition. Excuse me, and on top of the sales and the I don't want to say fellowship, camaraderie that you're having with amongst uh, us in the northern Nevada. One question I wanted to come back to, and you mentioned the word validation. You were validated. Excuse me, and one thing that we say frequently in our regular podcast is that writing is a very private endeavor done in the public spotlight.
Yes.
Meaning that we sort of introverted, but our work is very public, and we're always struggling with the question: is it good? Is it good? Is it worthy? Is it good? Is it worthy? Is it good? So,
Yes.
how did it feel for you to get for that? That getting that those accolades, and it's like, what? Maybe I don't suck.
It's very humbling also because I have won a number of awards, but the same book I can enter it in a different contest and I get a nah, B, no, this is, and then the next contest, oh yes, this is a great book. So you can't get too full of yourself when you win awards, but it does validate that somebody liked your awards, and it's not just the neighbors or your kids or your grandmother that says, oh, this is wonderful. These people don't know me. But it isn't the be all end all, because like I said, I've entered books in contests. One will take a first prize, and in another contest it gets 0 and
Mhm.
nobody's interested in it. So um, you can't get too full of yourself with that, but it does help with the validation. And it's also a way, when I do book signings, if they have little stickers on them, people will stop and ask you, well, what is that award? What? So it's a top, it it opens up the conversation when you meet the public. They want to know about the book. Oh, you won an award. So that's helpful too.
And it also looks like that you've written at least one, maybe more middle grade books, and then
The
adult fiction as well. So do you find that you have a more of a following of, one age group over another? Because I think a lot of authors find it difficult to find a readership, and a lot of advice says that you need to pick a genre or an age group and stick with it. So
Mhm.
how has that experience worked for you?
Well, most of my work is all fantasy or speculative or science fiction. So my fan base, whether it's middle grade, young adult, or adult, all likes that genre of reincarnation or soul switching or head grafting or some other things that I've written. So but middle grade, it's hard to judge because they don't always buy their own books.
Hmm.
I have worked with some classes now, reading excerpts of my books, and then we talk about writing. We also do a little bit of writing on their part. And because those middle grade books are about time travel, that's SOS Mayday, and I'm getting ready to do the edits for Morse Code, the third book in that series. That opens up the topic of conversation with students. With young adult, again, it's hard to judge if they're buying their own books or someone's buying them for them. I probably have a better handle on my adult books because people will send me messages. I read your book. I loved it. Yes, I'll write you a review. And that would be Walk-ins Welcome and Forever and Ever Always. And final book in that trilogy right now. So, yeah, I'm not sure if an age group, I would have to say I really like this genre of fantasy, science fiction, etc., paranormal.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about your book that just came out. Do you have that handy?
I do. Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I love that cover. So what drew you to these characters? They seem so special.
I I get ideas in all kinds of strange places. The internet, the Discovery magazine, something you read in the newspaper, a snatch of conversation you overhear. And a friend had told me that she had a friend that felt he had a walk in soul in his body. And that intrigued me, where you and I maybe switch souls. My soul would go into your body, yours would go into my body. What kind of havoc would that wreak on you as a person to have somebody else's soul? And so that was the kernel of the idea for Walk Ins Welcome, about a young man who is in a bad car accident and switches souls with a man who dies. And the man who died was married to one of the teachers, the adult education teacher at the school. And he has to convince her, I have the soul of your dead husband in my body. So that's a kind of an unusual love story. He's 20 and she's like 35. So, it's nothing weird or anything like that. Teachers preying on underage students or anything. So that was the premise of that. Their story continues in Forever and Ever Always. And then the third book will wrap up their love story from when they were in high school to current. I can't tell you how that one's going to end, but we need to put a finish on that. So yeah, that's where that idea came from. Somebody told me about a walk-in soul, and then I started reading about it. And there was a woman in the '70s named Ruth Montgomery who believed completely in that. And she wrote a whole series of books, nonfiction books, about soul switching or soul walk-ins, soul walkouts, whatever you call it. And so it was like, oh, this is really interesting. So that's where the idea for that book came from, or those three books came from.
That's a fascinating premise. I hadn't heard. Excuse me, I hadn't heard of walk-in souls, so that's very interesting.
Book with that premise written about the Russian Revolution and the Romanov princesses and their family who were murdered. Well, one of the young girls, her soul escapes and goes into the body of one of the maids that is in there to clean up the mess that the Bolsheviks made with the. So that was partially written. So I think I'll continue with the walk in, walk out soul kind of premise. It intrigues people, me
Hmm.
included.
I would love to talk about this at length because this is so very interesting.
Mhm.
But let's go ahead and wrap this up because we're getting near to our end of allotment by giving you your platform by telling us where we can find you on the internet. Uh,
Oh.
what are your what's your website and what's your preferred social media platforms and where can we find your books?
Well, you can find my books on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and there's and even on the Wild Rose Press. They've published four of my books, and you can order them right from the Wild Rose Press. They're kind of small, but they've been very good to work with, and I've learned a lot working with them. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo. One of my books is on Audible. Suppressed is on Audible, so you could listen to that one if you want. My social media, I'm Susie Dugan author, Susie Dugan writer on Facebook, but you can also find me on my personal page, Susan Hendrick Cornfield Dugan, and I'm on Instagram, Susie Dugan author. And on my website, you can order my books from there also, and it's Dugan the Right Way, WRITE way.com.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well, thank you for coming on the Nevada Authors Network, Sue. We learned a lot, and it's always impressive to hear how writers have that, very logical approach to the artistic endeavor, which is writing, because we are artists. So
Yeah.
and so it's fascinating to hear how we do logically come around our art. So
Hmm.
thank you again.
This is the Nevada Authors Network, which the CC and JT Amateur Hour is doing in cooperation with the Sierra Arts Foundation.
Hmm.
Someday we'll get this right. It's such an alphabet. It's such a word alphabet. Anyway, thank you again, Sue.
It was great talking to both of you. Anytime, I'd like to come and talk about some of my other books.
Oh,
So, yeah,
definitely.
till next
Okay,
time. Thank
Have
you.
have fun in
absolutely.
Greece.
Everybody take care. Thank you much.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Nevada Author Network, a collaboration between the Sierra Arts Foundation and Two More Books, recorded at the Depot Gallery and Bookstore in Sparks, Nevada. Thank you for joining us.